Hello, welcome back everyone to another video. This is a rant video, and today I'm going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, which was just announced, and my thoughts on it. So I was kind of thinking about getting one, until I found out the price, and at the price of $450 US, which in other countries, with the conversion rate, oh, that's gonna friggin' suck. But regardless, at that price, I might as well just buy an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, regardless. I mean, the original price, from what I've seen, I think in Japan, the price is like 300 US or something like that. So it's a lot cheaper over there, which, if that is correct, that it's like 300 and something over there, that's more reasonable, and I think it would sell a lot more if it was that price. However, I don't know why it's so expensive. Maybe because of these tariffs. Like, maybe they've already implemented the tariff price into it. That might have been the case, I'm not sure, but regardless, the difference is insane in the price. Like, I don't think it's worth almost $500. Also, if the tariffs haven't been included, that means it's probably gonna be even more expensive. You know, upwards of 25% more expensive than the price they announced because the tariffs haven't been included, which is even worse. If the PlayStation and the Xbox are in a similar price range, you know, maybe a little bit more expensive, but if they're in a similar range, I don't think the Nintendo Switch 2 really can compete. I think I would prefer to go with the Xbox, but that's just me, right? Anyway, so apparently it's storage is around 256 gigs, which that's so bad. That's so bad. You need at least a terabyte. Most games, like if you want to play Call of Duty, like I don't think you're gonna be playing that on the Nintendo Switch 2. But if you're gonna be playing Call of Duty, that game is like 300 gigs or something. Unless you're playing solely Nintendo games, which I don't think take up crazy amounts of memory. Unless you're playing solely Nintendo games, what the frig is 256 gigs? That's not enough. You need at least a terabyte to just get by. You know, and then you can have a few games on it, and that's it. But I think that's, to me, is a negative. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the Switch 2, and there was a lot of hype. They hyped it up, and then they, like, derailed themselves. Because they mentioned that they're increasing the prices of games from, like, the standard to, I think, they're raising it to $70 or $80. Now, I don't know if they're raising every single game that they're making to $80, but the Mario Kart World is priced at $80, which is a big difference. The issue here is that, you know, everyone's talking about this. A lot of other game companies are going to see this, and they're going to follow suit. They're going to be like, well, if Nintendo can do it, we're going to do it. I have a lot of issues with Nintendo as a company. I think they are run so bad. Like, their games might be fun, but the company itself is, everything I've ever seen them do is counterintuitive to being consumer friendly. Like, it really seems like they just hate customers and they do anything to stop customers. Like, just as a recent example, they're suing Palworld because Palworld had some of those like balls that kind of look like Pokeballs, and they had some similarities, and so they're going after Palworld for that. Also, them going after YouTubers who play their games, crazy because it's free promotion. Also, they went after the YouTube channel SML, which I like, because SML was using their characters in their videos. Those are just a few examples. I don't know, people are so blind to how Nintendo behaves, and it's really upsetting, because Nintendo makes fun games, but everything else the company does is counterintuitive to how, you know, you would behave if you were consumer friendly, at least in my opinion. But yeah, so they're raising game prices, and it's going to probably lead to a lot of other game companies doing the same. And people were speculating that the new Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to be $100. Whether they actually do make it $100 or not, I don't know. But with Nintendo feeling free to bump their game prices up, I am 90% sure that Rockstar is going to do the same. Now, they may not do it to $100. They may do it to $80 as well. Which, that's $80 US. If you're in Canada, what the frig is that, like $120 or something like that, you know, $110. If you're in Australia, it's probably, I think the Australian dollar is similar to the US dollar. Nope, I just googled it. If it's $80 US, that's 125 or 126 Australian dollars. Could you imagine paying $126 for a game? And that's only if we keep it at $80 a game. You know, if Rockstar decides to go crazy and bump it up to 100 like people are fearing, That's 160 Australian dollars. I could imagine paying 160 bucks for a game. I don't play new games for the most part. I wait for them to be on sale because of this reason. I don't want to pay these crazy prices for new games when I can get them on sale for $20, you know? And maybe that's just me being cheap. But if I can get 3 games for the price of, say, 1 normal game, that seems like a little better of an idea than just getting 1 game. And I think a lot of customers probably agree with me, because I think I definitely represent a lot. I think I represent the majority of customers. I know there are people out there who'll just go buy the new games when they come out. But, you know, if you're tight on money, why would you spend $60 on 1 game when you could spend that same amount of money on 3 games and even get more when you get a Steam summer sale or when you get a Steam sale, right? So it makes more sense to just wait for a sale and then go crazy, and then you get like 8 games for the price of 1 game. Anyway, so I think that's the main issue a lot of people have, is this price increase with the games. The issue that I have is the price. Like, I think that's a big issue. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a big issue, but I think another issue is the fact that the price of the Switch 2 is $450 US, which in Australian money, 700 bucks. What's that in Canadian money? $634. For that price, people in these countries could probably buy an Xbox or a PlayStation 5. And yes, it's not portable, but I think the performance on the PlayStation and the Xbox are probably better, and they have a bigger game catalog than the Switch. All right, I just looked it up to confirm my suspicion, and I'm correct. Basically, the Switch 2 is less powerful than the PS5 and Xbox Series X, and apparently it's closer to the Xbox Series S. So at this point, you might as well buy an Xbox if you don't have one. Now, if you want to carry something around with you, I'm going to say the Asus ROG Ally is probably better in terms of performance than what the Switch 2 will have. The Asus ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, the Steam Deck I would say is probably more comparable to the Switch 2 because the Steam Deck isn't as powerful, but the Asus ROG Ally is very powerful from everything I've read. You know, but if you're going for performance for a handheld device that has the ability to play a lot of games, I would go with the Asus ROG Ally or the Steam Deck over the Switch 2. Now, if you want to play Nintendo games, you got to get a Switch 2, and that's where they get you. Because Nintendo doesn't release any of their games on anything other than their own platform. And that is, I think, where they stand out a lot. Because a lot of game development companies will release their games everywhere. Even Sony, which develops games, releases their games on the computer. But Nintendo? Nah. You gotta buy a Nintendo-related product. And that's how they suck more money out of the consumer. See what I mean? But it's such an anti-consumer company. Like, everything they do is to screw people over to spending more money. But anyway, yeah, with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.